90th minute. Your team is defending a 3-0 lead from the first leg. You're already celebrating in your mind. You've texted your mates. You've posted on social media. The trophy is yours. And then it happens. A goal. Another goal. A third goal. The impossible becomes reality, and you feel something break inside you. But here's what they don't tell you. That pain isn't just about football. It's about your brain betraying you, your identity shattering, your tribe collapsing. What I'm about to reveal will explain why a 90-minute match can ruin your entire week, why grown adults cry over a game they don't even play, and why you'll never escape this cycle of agony and ecstasy. You need to subscribe to Cyberboot right now. Because understanding why you hurt is the first step to surviving the next heartbreak. This isn't about football. This is about being human. Welcome to Cyberboot, where we don't just analyze football. We dissect the psychology behind why we love it, why we suffer for it, and why we can't walk away from it. Today's video is different. We're not talking about tactics or transfers. We're talking about you. About why your heart races during a Champions League knockout match. About why a shocking upset feels like a personal betrayal. About why you've probably screamed at a television, argued with strangers online, and felt genuine grief over 22 people you've never met. And here's the twist. It's not your fault. Your brain is designed to feel this way. Evolution wired you for tribal loyalty. Your neurochemistry is programmed to crave the highs and lows of competition. And modern football has weaponized these ancient instincts to create the most emotionally devastating entertainment product in human history. And I'm going to show you why your football club is your modern-day tribe. How you formed a one-sided friendship with people who don't know you exist. What happens in your brain during those final, agonizing minutes. And why understanding this won't stop the pain. But it might help you survive it. By the end, you'll see Champions League heartbreak for what it really is. The price we pay for feeling alive. Let's begin. Before we talk about football, we need to talk about survival. 10,000 years ago, your ancestors didn't sit alone in their caves wondering about the meaning of life. They gathered around fires. They formed tribes. They painted their faces with symbols that said, "I belong here. These are my people." Why? Because isolation meant death. Being part of a group meant protection, shared resources, and a clear identity. Your tribe wasn't just where you lived. It was who you were. Fast forward to 2025. We don't need tribes to survive anymore. We have governments, police, grocery stores. The old clans have dissolved, but the instinct? That never went away. Psychologist Henry Teifel discovered something fascinating in the 1970s. He proved that humans will form group identities over the smallest things. Put people in random teams, Team A and Team B, and within minutes, they'll start favoring their own group and discriminating against the other. It's called social identity theory, and it explains why you feel pride when we win and shame when we lose. Your football club is your modern tribe. The colors are your war paint. The stadium is your fortress. The chants are your battle cries. When you wear that shirt, you're not just supporting a team, you're declaring your identity. This is why victory feels so incredible. We didn't just win a match, we conquered our enemies. We proved our tribe is superior. Psychologists call this basking in reflected glory. But here's the brutal truth. If the team's success is your success, then the team's failure is your failure. When Barcelona collapsed against Roma in 2018, it wasn't just Barca that lost. It was every fan who had tied their identity to the invincible Tiki-Taka dynasty. When Liverpool surrendered a 3-0 lead to AC Milan in the 2005 final, and then miraculously won on penalties, both sets of fans experienced identity death and rebirth in the same night. The tribe gives you belonging, but it also gives you vulnerability. I want to hear from you. What's the moment when you realized your club wasn't just entertainment, it was part of your identity? Drop it in the comments. Because understanding when you joined the tribe is the first step to understanding why the pain feels so personal. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Your relationship with your football club is fake. Not fake in the sense that your feelings aren't real, but fake in the sense that it's fundamentally one-sided. Psychologists have a term for this: parasocial relationships. It's a one-way emotional connection where you invest time, energy, and emotion into someone who has no idea you exist. You know everything about your club's players, their injury histories, their contract situations, their personal struggles, their families, their hobbies, their Instagram posts. They know nothing about you. They don't know your name. They don't know you scream at the TV when they miss a sitter. They don't know you've named your dog after them, and yet you feel connected. This isn't stupidity. This is sophisticated emotional manipulation, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible. Football clubs and media corporations have spent decades perfecting the art of making you feel like part of the family. Behind-the-scenes documentaries that make you feel like an insider, social media that creates the illusion of interaction. Player interviews where they talk about the fans and this incredible journey we're on together. Your brain doesn't distinguish between real relationships and parasocial ones when it comes to emotional response. When a player you've bonded with misses a crucial penalty, your brain processes it the same way it would process a friend letting you down. This is why certain losses feel like betrayal. When Steven Gerrard slipped against Chelsea in 2014, costing Liverpool a near-certain Premier League title, fans didn't just feel disappointment, they felt betrayed. How could he, the captain, the local lad, the one club legend, do this to us? But Gerrard didn't betray anyone. He slipped. It happens in football. The betrayal was entirely in the minds of fans who had built a parasocial relationship so strong that they believed Gerrard owed them perfection. When Ajax blew a 3-0 aggregate lead against Tottenham in 2019, conceding 3 second-half goals in Amsterdam, it wasn't just a tactical collapse. It felt like the team had abandoned their fans. How could they not fight harder? How could they not care as much as we did? The answer is simple: because it's their job. It's your identity. Second question: have you ever felt betrayed by a player or manager? Not just disappointed, actually betrayed, like they owed you something? Comment below. Because recognizing this parasocial dynamic is crucial to understanding your heartbreak. All right, let's get into the neuroscience. Because this is where it gets fascinating. When you watch a high-stakes Champions League match, your brain becomes a chemical laboratory conducting an experiment in pleasure and pain. Every time your team attacks, every shot on goal, every near miss, your brain releases dopamine. This is the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, reward, and motivation. When your team scores, you get a massive dopamine surge. It's the same chemical released when you eat your favorite food, win money, achieve a personal goal, fall in love. This is why goal celebrations feel euphoric. You're literally getting high off your own brain chemistry. But here's the catch. While you're chasing that dopamine high, your brain is also flooding your system with cortisol, the stress hormone. Every time the opposition attacks, every defensive mistake, every close call, your cortisol levels spike. Your heart rate increases, your breathing gets shallow, your muscles tense. Your body is preparing for physical danger from a football match you're watching on TV. Here's where upsets do their real psychological damage. Your brain is a prediction machine. It's constantly trying to anticipate what will happen next based on past experience and current information. When Barcelona went to Rome in 2018 with a 4-1 first-leg lead, every fan's brain was predicting victory. The dopamine reward was already being prepared. The narrative was already written. Then Roma scored, and scored again and again. This is called a prediction error, and it's one of the most destabilizing experiences your brain can have. The expected reward vanishes. The cortisol that was supposed to be temporary becomes chronic, and your brain's narrative, the story it was telling itself, completely collapses. Neuroscientists using fMRI scans have found that unexpected sports losses activate the same brain regions that process physical pain and personal rejection. The heartbreak isn't metaphorical. Your brain is processing it as real pain. And here's the cruel twist. This volatility is what makes football addictive. If your team won every match, the dopamine response would diminish over time. Your brain would get used to it, the pleasure would fade. But the unpredictability, the constant risk of heartbreak, keeps the dopamine system sensitive. Every potential victory feels like it could be the last. Every match could end in glory or disaster. You're not watching football, you're gambling with your emotions. and your brain is hooked on the high-stakes uncertainty. So let's bring it all together. You've got tribal identity, your club is part of who you are. Parasocial bonds, you feel personally connected to players. Neurochemical chaos, your brain is swimming in dopamine and cortisol. Now add a Champions League knockout match, the stakes are existential. This is what your tribe exists for. This is what separates glory from failure. And then, the unthinkable happens. May 7th, 2019, Anfield. Liverpool, trailing 3-0 from the first leg against Barcelona, need a miracle. For Barca fans, this was supposed to be a formality. Victory was assured. The narrative was set. Messi would lead his team to another Champions League final. Then Divock Origi scored. Then Jorginho Wijnaldum scored twice in 2 minutes. Then Trent Alexander-Arnold took the quickest corner in football history, and Origi scored again. Final score, 4-0. Barcelona eliminated. For Liverpool fans, this was transcendence. Their tribe had achieved the impossible. Their identity as never-give-up warriors was validated. For Barcelona fans, this was apocalypse. It wasn't just a loss. It was the collapse of the Messi will save us narrative. The exposure of systemic weakness. This was their third straight Champions League collapse. The death of the identity they'd built around invincibility. Psychologists call this identity fusion, when the boundary between self and group becomes so blurred that an attack on the group feels like an attack on you personally. Barcelona's elimination wasn't something that happened to the team. It was something that happened to every fan watching. Their personal identity? I am a Barca fan, therefore I am part of a historically great institution, was shattered. Or take the 2021 upset. Sheriff Tiraspol, a tiny club from Moldova, traveling to the Santiago Bernabeu to face Real Madrid. Real Madrid, the kings of Europe. 13 Champions League titles. In that time, a legacy of invincibility on this stage. 90th minute. Sebastian Thill strikes from 25 yards. Top corner, 2-1. Sheriff win. For Real Madrid fans, this wasn't just an embarrassing loss to an underdog. It was an assault on their identity. If the mighty Real Madrid can lose to Sheriff, a club most fans had never heard of, what does that say about the tribe you've devoted your life to? This is why the heartbreak feels so real. Because on a psychological level, it is real. You're not crying over a game. You're grieving. The collapse of your tribe's status. The betrayal of a one-sided friendship. The death of a narrative you believed in. The physical pain your brain processes from the shock, it's a real loss. Just not the kind most people understand. So why does a Champions League upset leave you heartbroken? Because it was never just a game. It's your tribe. It's your identity. It's a neurochemical addiction. It's a one-sided friendship that feels as real as any relationship in your life. The pain you feel after a devastating loss isn't weakness. It's not overreaction. It's the price of admission for the highs. For the euphoria of a last-minute winner. For the belonging you feel in a stadium full of strangers who are somehow your family. You can't have the ecstasy without the agony. They're two sides of the same coin, and honestly, that's what makes football beautiful. Before you go, I need 3 things from you. Subscribe to Cyberboot right now. We're the only channel that goes this deep into the psychology, the neuroscience, and the human stories behind football. If you want to understand why you feel what you feel, this is your home. Hit that like button if you've ever felt genuine grief over a football match. Because that grief is valid, and acknowledging it is the first step to surviving the next heartbreak. Answer this in the comments. What's the most heartbreaking Champions League upset you've experienced? Not as a neutral, as a fan whose team collapsed when it mattered most. Share your story, because sometimes sharing the pain is how we survive to fight another season. The next time you're nursing a football heartbreak, remember this. You're not being dramatic, you're being human. And that capacity to feel, to care this deeply about something, is what separates us from every other species on this planet. Football doesn't break your heart because you're weak. It breaks your heart because you're alive. This has been Cyberboot, where we don't just watch football, we understand why we can't stop watching. See you in the comments, and see you at the next match. Because we always come back. We always will.